Hey, welcome to the show. I wanted to hop on and talk about the XRP Las Vegas event that was this past weekend. I just got back last night, and I have to say it was a whirlwind of excitement and fun. There was so much love and enthusiasm everywhere. I've been to many trade shows and conferences and what we call industry events in my career. I've never been to one like this at all. I've never been to one that was just so consistently fun. I've also never been to a trade show, like industry event, where I was really sad to leave. And it's the next day, and I'm like, I want to make this video with a lot of enthusiasm, but like, I'm genuinely sad that it is over. And the idea of waiting for a whole nother year for another one just seems like so incredibly long to wait. So, Brad and Danielle did such an amazing, incredible job. It's mind blowing how much work went into it. So I actually work with Brad and helped sort of with some of the strategy for this event. And I think most people have zero idea the amount of time that they both put into it. There was also another like team of people working on a lot of logistical things, the swag, the plan. And like there was so much that went into the video work that it truly is like an incredible accomplishment to have created and managed an event of this scale and scope for the first time, and it was just a absolutely incredible experience. So I did want to talk a little bit about what happened, what were all the different events like, what did we do for all these days, talk a little bit about some of the people that I met in person, which was just truly remarkable. So that's what I'm going to do. So I actually managed to get in on Thursday, which was the day before the event started. Actually, Thursday night spent a bunch of time with Patrick Riley and the Reaper team. So if you're not familiar with Reaper Financial, they have some really cool products. Patrick is insanely bright and smart and knowledgeable about many things. I've actually had him on my show. Fantastic guy, and it was awesome to get to hang out with him and his family. So that was super fun on Thursday night. And then Fridays when the actual event started. And there was some earlier events before the main conference for some of the people who are in Brad's mastermind group, the DPMG group. And on Thursday afternoon, everybody kind of met in this room and just sort of hung out and chit-chatted and had some snacks. And it was just so invigorating and exciting. People were really genuinely happy to be there. Often at industry events, I don't mean to be cynical, but like a lot of times it's very fake sales pitch talk, like, oh, so what do you do? And I'm trying to sell you the thing. And oh, what do you do? And I'm going to try to sell you another thing. And it's fine. That's just sort of the deal, I think, with going to a lot of industry events. This was nothing like that at all. This was just people really genuinely excited to meet each other. There wasn't even like talk about the case really or price action, at least not in the conversations I had. People just seemed so positive and forward thinking and excited. And, I met a ton of people who have told me they've watched my videos, and the genuine encouragement and enthusiasm like was so uplifting and amazing. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm a little sad is like, I wish the rest of the real world was like this, full of just incredibly gracious, kind, warm, fun people. Like if that was where every interaction I had with people everywhere was like the crowd at the XRP event, like this world would be just even more amazing than it is. And the other thing that I found fascinating is that like the XRP community is not what you would traditionally think of as like this crypto bro world. It was incredibly diverse across every possible demographic group, like age wise. You could tell sort of like walk of life wise, ethnicity wise. There was quite a few women there. Even though the XRP community kind of has a reputation for being very male centric, there was a lot of women there, a lot of women very knowledgeable about XRP, a lot of women really enthusiastic about it. So I had a fantastic time chatting with all sorts of people, which was amazing. And then Friday night was the first sort of high energy event where we had this sort of thing for the VIPs and the speakers went. And this was where Brad Garlinghouse came and spoke. You've probably seen some of the clips on Twitter. And that was just like, it was like a moment you'll always remember. The security that was there, like it was a really exciting thing. And he gave such an uplifting sort of message to all of us that we're all in this together. We're going to win the good fight. And he was such a trooper to have, lots of photos taken and for so many people to meet him. And it was just so incredibly cool. And I know that Brad That was a big deal to get Brad Garlinghouse there. And he, a lot of anxiety and worry went into the logistical planning to make sure that went off okay. And it was just incredible how it came through. And then everybody was hanging out in the bars, and we were in this Las Vegas hotel where there's sort of bars and drinks everywhere. And it was just, you just go up to anybody who had one of these XRP badges on, and people were incredibly gracious and friendly and just eager to speak to each other and just to be a part of this tribe that has really come together so magnificently. All right, then Saturday was the actual sort of conference itself. So I actually gave the opening remarks in the morning to welcome Brad and got up on stage in front of hundreds of people. And it was sort of a surreal experience because there's so many lights on the stage that when you look out over the audience, you can't really see anything. So it's like, I think there's people there. I'm just going to talk to myself. And I had a little joke. My welcome remarks sort of tied into this joke. Fortunately, people laughed. I was kind of a little bit worried and stressed that they might not, but that went off well. And then there was a series of panels for the most part. And one thing that I just loved about the decision that Brad made for this event was he told me several times, like, I don't want this to be the Brad show. I want this to be about our whole community. And there are so many other people who have kind of followed in Brad and DIO's footsteps and created content around this space. And instead of seeing those people as competitor, Brad sees this sort of role that he has to help nurture and kind of welcome the next generation of content creators and educators and whatnot. And so he got as many of us on stage via the panels as he possibly could. And I just thought that was so gracious and cool that he really wants to grow the community and, went to incredible, like, personal expense to put on this event and incredible amount of time, and did it like knowing that he was going to elevate all of these other creators. And Brad didn't moderate a panel. Like he wanted to spread the love and spread the opportunity to a huge group of people. And that's just incredibly generous of him to have done that. So that was a really cool part of it. And the panels kind of covered a variety of things related to digital assets. I actually managed one on tokenization with Sologenic and Uphold. And it was neat to be able to have a variety of different kind of conversations about things that we felt were interesting to people in the audience, and just gave everybody a quick round of exposure to some of the topics that we said. All right, who are some of the people that I met at this conference that were just memorable experience, really excited? So as a creative content creator, I'm well aware that there's a wide variety of skills that go into making things like this. And I'm good at some things. I'm not good at lots of things. And so some of the skills that I absolutely admire in others are, one, humor. You can be consistently funny as a content creator. That's badass. And that is actually way harder than many people think. And so one of the first people that I got to meet at this event was XRP Productions, who is a satire parody account in our space. If you don't follow him, you should. He's absolutely hysterical and just has this perfect balance of like dry wit that is, I just find incredibly entertaining and amusing. And he has a pseudonym. He's anonymous, I guess. He has a pseudonym. I don't know what the word is for pseudonymous. I don't think that's a real word. Anyway, so we don't know what he looks like. However, I got to meet him at person, hang out with him quite a bit at the event, which was really fun. And it's such a neat thing to sort of have this anonymous account that you kind of admire from afar and then to actually get to speak to the person who's behind it. And there's a second account kind of in the same space. So while humor is very difficult to master, video editing is also quite a challenging skill. There's much area of opportunity for me to improve in video editing. And what was great was to meet the NFA.crypto account person. Again, also doesn't share his name publicly, but it was really fun to be able to hang out with him and talk to him about the stuff that he's made. And he has such a memorable voice from his videos that that was pretty neat because you could recognize it pretty instantly. All right, the coolest cat in XRP, without a doubt, is Mr. Mr. Intuitive. And he was everywhere at this event, could not be more fun and gracious and kind and funny. He participated in the event itself as a Q&A moderator, which is absolutely a natural skill for him. He's just, I think, born to do that type of thing. And it was very fun to be able to get to know him and hang out with him in person as well. While I didn't meet him for the first time this weekend, I did spend quite a bit of time with Ray Fuentes from Link2. I actually got to meet him last week at Consensus and spend some time with him recording some content. So for this event, he was the master of ceremonies on Saturday, which is an absolutely perfect role for him. He's just such a high energy, enthusiastic, fun, easy to talk to guy. And he was a natural at sort of leading all the different panels and introducing people throughout the day. It's quite a bit of a time commitment because he was up and down, from 9 in the morning basically to almost 5 at night. But it was absolutely something that I think he was born and designed to do. So super excited to got to hang out with Ray. Now, one of the first large YouTube accounts that I was ever on as a guest was Zach Rector's show. And I've worked with Zach in some other projects that we're both involved in. And it was really cool to get to meet Zach in person. He's way taller than I expected. Can't always tell that when you watch people's videos. Could not have been more friendly. His adorable wife was with him. And it was really nice to get to see him in person and chit chat with him. Also very excited to meet Linda P. Jones. So when I first got into the XRP world, one of the things that I came across initially was her podcast, and I read one of her books. Actually, I read two of them, but I read one early on and absolutely changed my viewpoint on the XRP world and got me very excited about this space. And so to be able to meet her and thank her for her help and support of me, as a sort of a consumer of her information, I really appreciated doing that. Mel Carmine, who I've been on his show, great guy, very forward thinking in some of the types of content that he covers on his show, often somewhat controversial. People in many cases aren't really ready to talk about some of the stuff that he covers on his show. And specifically talking about things like NASARA, QFS, and some of these kind of concepts around the next financial system. And great to meet him in person, and his wife, Amber. And he gets the award for the ballsiest question in the Q&A that was asked to sort of the Link2 and PolySign CEOs, where he asked them about NASARA, which is, generally not really covered in sort of the mainstream corporate world. So that was pretty remarkable. They didn't have an answer for it. I think there was this sort of awkward pause and silence, but I thought that was pretty bold, courageous move for Mel. So great to meet you, Mel. And I wish I'd had the courage to ask that question, but I was glad you did it for me. So the energy overall in this event was just so amazing in that, first of all, Brad comes from a music background. And so he knew that if we're going to put on this event, there has to be this energy level that almost like feels like a concert or like a performance of sorts. So early on in the morning when I got in to prepare for my opening remarks, there was like smoke and techno music playing and really cool like ambient light. It made this feel almost like a Tony Robbins event, if you've ever been to one of those, where there is just you want to be just jumping up and down, which again, compared to most like traditional industry events, you just don't usually get that kind of vibe. And I was at Consensus last week and I had a lot of fun because I was hanging out with fun people, but like I wouldn't describe any of the things that I went to at Consensus as like crazy fun, high energy. And maybe I just didn't go to the right things. And we did have a dinner there, which was actually very fun. But again, that was more about the people that I was with than necessarily. Generally, industry events are not like rockin' party. And this XRP Las Vegas event was a rocking party with music and enthusiasm. And now I'm home and I'm sad. I miss it. It was really fun. I just talked to so many people who were just really positive and excited. And anybody who is going to criticize this event obviously didn't go, because I didn't see one person there who was not just ear to ear smiling and just really excited to like be with the tribe and talk about this stuff and get to meet each other in person and sort of really feel connected. We live in this world where we have these really cool tools like YouTube and Zoom, and you can connect with people around the world instantly, which I think is pretty amazing. However, there is nothing, in my opinion, that can really replace what it's like to be in the same room with people, to look people in the eye, sort of have these actual conversations, to go off and do fun things. I also spent a bunch of time with the Beyond Broke guys, Max and Jake. They're really fun and cool. And, you don't ever really, in my opinion, form the same depth of like a bond friendship through virtual things that you do in person. You can. I think, I've made some great, incredible friendships and relationships through those tools, but I'm glad we're not giving up the in-person stuff, and I'm glad in-person events are still a thing. And this XRP Army event was like one of the most amazing, fun experiences. I learned a lot, but this to me was really more about connecting with other people and just having some FaceTime and conversations and hugs with people from all around the world, all walks of life, who all have kind of come together around this shared enthusiasm and interest for the XRP ledger and digital assets and understanding the future of money and really wanting to be a part of, what lies ahead. And so I can't even thank Brad and Mrs. Backup enough for their generous contribution in terms of, so much time went into this. This event, the planning for it began at the end of last year. And to see how smoothly it kind of flowed when you were there as an attendee was truly remarkable. So hopefully somebody will have another fun thing to do this year, because if I have to wait all the way till May of next year for another fun event, that feels like a long time. So that's my recap of what happened. It was a great time, and hopefully the memories will last for a while. See ya.